you here with us today. Thank you so much for honoring us. Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the Economic Times Rewriting Leadership Norms webinar, organized by and presented by the Economic Times Edge. Economic Times Edge. The group of attendees here today are the members of the Economic Times India Leadership Council, the ETILC, a premium platform for MDs and CEOs of organizations from India Inc. We've all had a good share of good times and bad times. However, at the moment, we're standing at the juncture of very uncertain times. We're facing challenges, situations, dilemmas we've never encountered before. So, how do we find solutions? Who will help us? Who will guide us? It is my honor and privilege to introduce to you our esteemed guests who will address us on the topic, leading with compassion and resilience through turbulent times, and suggest solutions to all of us in terms of our problems and challenges. Very quick introduction on Gurudev, although he doesn't need an introduction, but for those who may still need one. Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji, as we all know, is a universally revered and humanitarian leader who holds a vision of a violence-free, stress-free society through the reawakening of human values. He has inspired millions of people to broaden their spheres of responsibility and work towards the betterment of the world. A number of honors have been bestowed upon Guruji for his service to humanity, including the Padma Vibhushan, the highest annual civilian award in India. In addition to many techniques of self-development and inner peace, his most unique offering has been the Sudarshan Kriya, a powerful breathing practice which invokes emotional, physical, mental, and social well-being. May I now humbly request Gurudev to share his wisdom on the global crisis we are in today and the way forward.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. I know you have all the time. Now you're all locked out. This situation is nothing short of the Third World War. Only thing is, the war is being fought with an invisible enemy. So, if it was just in one or two countries, the others would not have bothered so much. But this virus has suddenly taken the entire world from Japan to Argentina. There is lockdown. There is lockdown everywhere, and so it is compelling us to think differently now. Whether it is educational institutions, or it's business and industry, or even it is politics, people are grappling with this sense of not knowing what to do, how we have to proceed. These are the times that we have to invoke the valor in us. At times such as this really calls for a lot of inner strength. And of course, we need to be compassionate and see what is that we can do to all those who are depending on us. I'm sure as leaders of this industry, you all have a lot of people's life, their families are dependent on you. At the same time, you have to make the industry survive. So it's such a challenging time, I tell you, it's such a challenging time that you all know. So in this challenging time, we need to have one thing in our mind: we will win over this situation. This is the first affirmation that we all must have within us. Second is to see this also as an opportunity for a new set of paradigms, a new growth in our own field. How we can make use of this opportunity, this situation as an opportunity for a fresh start, a new growth in the coming months post the coronavirus. Because the world is not going to be same. People are going to be scared to come in groups. Even offices, you will see people would request to stay back home and work from there. And tourism and hotel industry will be one of the hard hit. Travel and tourism will be hit very badly. It's not going to recover immediately. So in all this scenario, we all have to rethink our strategies to have a clarity in, to bring about new strategies. We need to have, first is a calm and serene mindset. Don't you agree with me? Yeah. When we are rattled, when the mind is rattled, we do not get good ideas. And any idea we get when a disturbed state of mind, in a state of uncertainty and insecure emotions running high, we end up regretting in all those decisions that we take. So now there is a time that we all turn inward. I think this is a message from the nature for us. Hey, you are on rat race, just stay back, stay put, and then look within. Look, what is that you want? What is the goal of your life? Some questions may appear to be philosophical, but today they appear to be the most practical thing to ask ourselves in this scenario. So, what is it you want? Where are you running? Who are you? How can you make best use of your life? How can you be useful to others? These are some haunting questions that we don't ask when we are so busy. Now we have time to reflect on these. I feel this is the time to find that inner strength. Comfort is very different for different people. This is beckoning for you to find a different type of comfort. How much we can seek the comfort in spite of being in a turbulent time. For us in India, for this generation, it is really new, because we had one such situation just before independence, when there was plague in the country. I remember my grandmother telling me that there was plague and people had to vacate the entire street. Everybody would leave their home and go away. And so that situation none of us have faced, except there was a lockdown in Surat few years back. You remember there was a plague cry in Surat, and it was very well contained because people all followed the rules laid by the authorities those days. But we have seen such type of lockdown. I have myself personally seen in Iraq, during this war 2003 to 2005, a most prosperous country which had such a strong economy was completely bombarded, and walls were created between each localities, and there were so many police checkposts in a short distance. So Iraq has seen these sort of challenges where economy was totally destroyed, but it is coming back, it's bouncing back. And we see such war zones in Middle East, in Syria and other places. We have seen some such things in South America, where total lockdown was there. The economy has completely collapsed in some places. But this time, it has taken a big toll in America, North America, and all other parts of Europe and everywhere. So, we need to be prepared for a revolution of thinking, of uh, a new strategy to put forth for the coming few years. For that, we all have to put our minds, hearts and minds, and see how we can see. Without the workforce, we cannot do anything. And to sustain the workforce, at this moment, what is needed is compassion. Any business cannot be run only with compassion or only with calculation. It has to be a balance between calculation and compassion. Compassion is of heart and calculation is of the head. You know, if you just do a business, I often say you do business with your heart, you are going to sink. It should not be done. Business should be done with calculated moves. Whereas life needs to be lived with compassion. Service is part of our life. Without that, we don't feel complete at all. Now is the time to balance both these acts. And when society beckons us for service activity now, that's where we all have to do that one extra mile, or one that little pinch we need to take and keep doing, and prevent these workers, daily wage workers, from running away or getting into a gloomy mood or creating violence in the society. Yeah? What do you say? You all agree with me? Yeah?
Yes, Guruji. Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, Guruji.
You know, I foresaw this. So on the 22nd, the first Janta curfew day itself, I sent about 108 tons of food grains to Mumbai. Mumbai was easy to go by road, so sent all the food grains there, and we could stop 3 lakh families from fleeing because they all got some ration. Unfortunately, Delhi was a little too far and we could not do it immediately. And we, you know what we saw in Delhi a couple of days later. But this, later on, of course, Delhi also, people got into action. Many NGOs came forward, many companies came forward to help the daily wage workers. And we could convince them to go back and stay back. Some, of course, wanted to leave because they would get more money through Manrega when it was announced. They would say, we'll go to our villages and get more money there. So, a country covers, you know, where literacy is not 100%, we have to take so many more measures which are absolutely essential now. Yeah? Yes, Alok, you have some questions, then I will take them.
Gurudev, we were thinking if you can first lead us into a meditation, calm us down, because now you've given us so much knowledge, and then we can go into a Q&A session. Is that okay with you?
That's good, that's great.
So thank you, Gurudev.
Yeah,
Please
we will do. We'll do short meditation.
Yes, Gurudev.
Now,
Thank
you can raise your thumb. How many of you have not done any meditation before? Can you raise your finger? Okay. Okay. How many of you have not done meditation? You can raise your hand. Okay. Okay, if this is new for you. Okay, how many of you have done some sort of meditation before? Can you raise your hands? Okay. Some of you are not raising hand for both. Yeah. But anyway, meditation is not concentration. Let me make this point very clear to you. Often we think meditation is concentration, right? I tell you it is not. To do any job, you need concentration. But for meditation, you don't need concentration because it is relaxation. It's a deep relaxation. So let us begin. First, let us shake our hands. There is some restlessness or some rajas in us. It'll go away by just shaking our hands. अच्छे से झाड़ दीजिए हाथों को. Then we sit still with our spine erect. Let's fix our gaze at 30 degrees. We look in front of us. Don't look at the screen now. I will be giving instructions. So just look at 30 degrees in front of you. Keep your eyes open. Now relax your shoulders and relax your arms. Your gaze is fixed. Now let's body still. The moment you want to keep your body still, you may find a little itching, a twitching here and there. That is okay. But still, for next 3 minutes, we are going to keep our body still. Our gaze is fixed. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Another deep breath in and breathe out. And we may gently close our eyes now. Let us close our eyes. Let's pay attention to our own body. Remember the weight of your body. Whatever that is, 60 kilos or 80 kilos or 100. We came into this planet weighing just 4 kilos or 5 kilos, and today we weigh 60, 70, 80 kilos. So let's take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, place your weight on the chair or on the floor you are sitting. Let's take another deep breath in and breathe out. Our body has billions and trillions of cells. There is enormous energy in each cell of our body. Let us honor our own body. Our body is the most precious gift to us from nature. Honor your own body. And relax your body more and more. Now let us move into the second dimension of our existence, the breath. Our body has value because there is breathing that is happening. involuntarily all the time. Let us become aware of our breath. Incoming breath energizes the body and outgoing breath brings relaxation. This phenomenon is happening all the time. Let's pay attention to breath. Like fish in the water, we are in air. Let us become aware of the air all around you and inside of you. Become aware of the air all around you and inside of you. And you keep your eyes closed and feel your own breath. Let us honor our own breath. Breathe in and out with reverence. Welcome the incoming breath as you would do to an honored guest, and see off the outgoing breath as you would do to a dear one. We have seldom attended to our breath or honored it. Now is the chance. Let us do it. Let us honor the incoming breath. With full attention, breathe in, and with a big smile, see off the outgoing breath. As you would do to a dear one going abroad. Let us do this for 5 deep breaths. 5 बार करते हैं. गहराई से सांस लीजिए. मुस्कुराते मुस्कुराते सांस को बाहर करें. Now let us move on to the third dimension, the mind. Our body is like the wick of a candle. The mind is like the glow all around it. In fact, your mind is all around your body and inside of it. शरीर मन के भीतर है. शरीर ज्योति है तो मन, शरीर बाती है तो मन ज्योति है. गहरी सांस लीजिए और छोड़ें. Now become aware of the space in your room. Become aware of the walls, the roof, and the total space in the room you are sitting. Another deep breath in and let go. और गहरी सांस लीजिए और छोड़ दीजिए। As the body relaxes, the mind expands, and as the mind occupies a vaster space, body finds relaxation. Let us become familiar with this phenomenon. Every night when you sleep, your mind expands and your body gets deeper rest. Whatever thoughts are coming in the mind, just let them come. Embrace them all. Pleasant thoughts, unpleasant thoughts. They come and go like the clouds in the sky. हमारे चित्त आकाश में विचार आते हैं जाते हैं, आने दे जाने दे, न रोकना न ठोकना है उसको. We neither stop any thoughts nor we hold on to them. Let them come and go. Relax your body. Relax more. Any tension anywhere in the body or anything in the mind, just let it be. जो भी है इस वक्त उसको रहने दें. Any tension, just embrace them, not try to chase them out. Just let it be. Let go of all your effort, even any tiny effort to listen to the instruction, that also you should let go of it. Not to listen to instruction intently, but just relax. This moment we do nothing and there is nothing to know either. इस वक्त ना ही कुछ करना है हमें, ना कुछ जानना है, केवल विश्राम करनी है. Let go of all your effort. सभी प्रयत्न छोड़ दें और विश्राम करें. Let's keep a smile on our face and relax, repose with that smile. एक मुस्कान के साथ अपने आप में विश्राम करें. Let us become aware of the space above our head up to the ceiling. सिर के ऊपर छत तक की दूरी को स्मरण कर लें, वहाँ अपना ध्यान रखें. Keep your attention in the space above your head. And let go and relax. अब छोड़ दें सब, सब प्रयत्न छोड़ दीजिए. Let go and relax. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Become aware of your body and surroundings, and just crack open your eyes. Just 1%. आंखें जरा सा खोलिए. Just open just little bits so that a ray of light goes inside your eyes. हल्का सा, थोड़ा सा, जरा सा आंखें खोलिए. Allow just a ray of light to move in. And let's keep a big smile. As we smile, all the muscles in our face gets deep relaxation. Our brain gets deep relaxation. Never mind, even if it's an artificial smile, just keep a smile and notice how the muscles, the tissues in your face is getting deep relaxation. And breathe in with a smile and breathe out. And just open your eyes till for 30%. Again, let us breathe in with a smile and breathe out. Relax the whole body. In the next breath, you may fully open your eyes. Next breath, take a deep breath in with a smile and you may open your eyes. Was it good? Was it good? Did you feel the time you meditated for 20 minutes? right? How many minutes? Little over 20 minutes. You feel the meditation time? That's good? You can raise your hands up, I can see you.
It was great.
It was great.
Good.
And it sounded just like 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah,
We didn't feel it was more than 20 minutes.
yeah, it's more than 20 minutes, yeah.
We want more now.
Thank
Every day I'm conducting this in noon time, but 12 in the noon and noon time meditation, half an hour, and evening at 7:30 to 8. And people around the world are joining from all over. Yeah. Yes, Alok, go ahead.
Thank you, Gurudev, for this beautiful, amazing meditation. I think from the response we got, people don't just want to be in that state. But we have some very important questions from our guests. And may I start asking you those questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Gurudev, the first question is from Som Satsangi. He is the managing director of Hewlett Packard Enterprises India. His question is, in these unprecedented times, how do we ensure we engage and motivate our teams while they're working from home? Also, how do we keep them emotionally engaged?
This is the time you step a little bit outside your routine job sense and ask them to do something creative. Give them challenges. Have some games that you can all play some games. You can say, okay, tomorrow we're all going to speak at least 3 sentences or 5 sentences in Assamese. You say, give them some challenges. So, okay, each one of you come with some ideas. Ask them to come up with ideas. And have some games. You know, you can all play some Antakshari game with your team. Like you have entertainments even in your workplaces. Many times you have prizes, you have plays that you encourage among the workers. And this is the time to have some such lighter activities. Those activities which can lighten up your spirit. Yeah? And you can encourage them all to do meditation. That one, in one stroke, that's a Rambhan. It will keep them cheerful. Immediately they come out with such great ideas.
Gurudev, this question is from Colonel Chandok. He is the CEO of Victorinox. And his question is, there are many people in the world who are hardworking, competent, have only done the right things, taken care of the environment, been truthful, honest, and been good people. Even they suffer in this situation. How should such a person tackle his or her frustration, even though they feel and they know that they've always been good and still God has made them suffer for someone else's mistakes?
Well, when a country goes for war, it doesn't see good people or bad people. At that time, it doesn't see intelligent or dumb. A warlike situation beckons everyone to participate. Whether they are rich or poor, everybody jumps in to save the country. And so this is the time to come together, not to see who is a sinner and who is a meritorious person, who is good and who is not good. It is a matter of collective survival. So in such situation, nature wants you all to be united. In Gita, Bhagavan says, even if someone is doing adharma and all, but once he stands up for a cause, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma, shashvat shantim nigacchati. He quickly becomes dharmatma and he will attain the permanent peace. So, Gita is the guiding light in this situation. So, you don't have to worry, I am righteous or he is wrong, it should happen only to him, not to me. No, this is a situation you find the oneness of the whole mankind, oneness of the universal spirit, and everybody has to jump in. When there is a valor, there is no depression. Truth, when there is deep faith and dedication towards God, then there is no frustration. You have deep faith. God is going to take care. I need to do just what I need to do, but not in the sense that the disease will not come to me. I can do whatever I do. That is no. God only helps those who help themselves. You follow the rules and then you have a deep faith in God. That's number one. Second is invoke the valor in you. This is the time. I'm not going to just sit. Let us all do something, work together, and we will defeat this current situation. That valor will also help people to move forward. Yes, hello?
Guruji, this question is from BVJK Sharma, director with Adani Ports. His question is, are we becoming an enemy of our own expectations?
Expectations reduces joy. Always surprising things brings. Most of the time, surprising things are more palatable. It brings you more joy. Then you get something after a long expectation, and even when it comes, you really don't enjoy it. Huh? I remember one incident I like to tell you here. It was when one of the prime minister of this country, he has a farmhouse outside New Delhi, and he requested me to visit there and lead him through a meditation. He was very stressed. So when I went, I said, well, Prime Minister is calling, I had to go, so I went. This is long back, several years back. You know what the Prime Minister said, Gurudev, 20 साल से हमने जो करना वो भी किया, जो नहीं करना वो भी किया इस पद पाने के लिए. To get to this seat, I did all that I should do and all that I should not do also. But see, before I used to sit here carefree, happily. Now you see how many guards are standing all over. I feel I am like in a prison. So now I feel it was such an illusion that I was craving to become the Prime Minister of this country. So, I said, अच्छा वो आपने अभी realize कर लिया इस बात को. So, your expectations of something you are going to get after a long time, when you get it also, it doesn't really taste so good. It's a common experience for everybody. But if your intention is to do good for people, whether you get a position, get a place or not, you continue to do, that will give you immense satisfaction. Yeah.
Gurudev, this question is from Anshu Buddha Raja. He is the CEO of Amway. And he also says this question is from Amway, as they have discussed internally, and also with 5,50,000, actually 55 lakh distributors of Amway, which include 60% women. He wants to know about your vision of the new world which will emerge after this is over, and what will be the connection with digital and human connections?
We have moved into the digital world. There is no question of going back now. We have to move faster in the digital plane only. This is the future of the world. At the same time, consumerism is not going to go down. This is for sure. People need consumer goods, and what appeared to be luxury before, slowly all those things have become necessities. As we progress in human life, luxuries translate into necessities. And it also beckons us for more innovation. And research and development, had to be given little more attention than before. Yes.
Gurudev, this question is from Vineet Sahani. He is the CEO of Lumax Industries. He asks you, we are all handling the current situation in our own way. It varies from individual to individual. How to know that an individual is handling it the right way?
For any businessman or an able administrator, you need two things. One is intuitive ability. If your intuition is kindled, when to invest, what to invest, how much to invest, whether the project you are taking, is it successful or will it be successful or not, your intuition will tell you. But we do nothing at all to develop our intuitive ability. This is a sad thing. Neither our education system provides us to develop our intuition, nor our workplace, nor our environment. So we get so stressed, so our intuition is always under shroud, or we don't even tap it and use it. So we keep guessing it. It's like groping in the darkness. If you have a torch, you know exactly where is what. You can switch on the light. It's so dark, then you simply go on groping the darkness, trying to find a switch. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. But I tell you, there are ways to develop your intuitive ability. Intuition is one thing. Second is innovation. And the third thing I would like to add is sharpness of intelligence. All these three things, sharpening your intelligence. All of us have intelligence. Everybody has intelligence. But it becomes like the butter knife. It doesn't sometimes cut even banana. It is not so sharp. No doubt we think we have a knife, but it can only take the butter. It doesn't even cut bananas. So our intelligence needs to be sharpened. It needs time and again some work. See, in teenage and then as youth, and when we grow further in our life, is our intelligence become sharper? Are we become more precise in our expression and perception? These are some questions we need to ask ourselves. And one way to get all three is breathing exercise, pranayama. Pranayama, Sudarshan Kriya can make your mind so sharp like a laser beam, and it also kindles your intuitive ability. 90% of your ideas, your thoughts will be guided by your intuition. Then you'll be successful most of the time. Yeah.
Gurudev, this question is from Manish Chaturvedi. He is the MD and CEO of Indus Strategy. I think he wants little more detail and little more granularity from you. His question, he says, is, in this strenuous situation and restlessness all around our aspects, how do we keep that valor, calm and compassion? How do we bring that affirmation? Guruji, it is easier said than done. Subconscious mind over encompasses the state of conscious mind. Please guide us.
I think this question must have arisen before the meditation. If you keep meditating twice a day, thrice a day, you see there is such a serenity and calmness which you carry with you all the time. You know, you don't get rattled so much. I'll just give you one example. See, if you have had a good night's sleep, afterwards, see how clearly you see things. Suppose you have not slept for 2 nights, and then what would be your state of mind? A simple question from anybody will irritate you, right? Yes? Yes or no? Yeah? Just imagine a scenario where you have not slept for 2 nights. Someone is asking 3 times, maybe the same question, where are you going? Or what time will you be back? Will you answer them in a calm mind? Impossible. You will, your reaction will be much different. So same way, when we meditate, it will bring your आत्म बल. हमारे भीतर से ऐसी शक्ति उमड़ती है, तब हमें औरों की सांत्वना देने की तो बात तो है ही, अपने भीतर इतना मजबूती आपको महसूस होगी. इसलिए थोड़ी थोड़ी देर, आधा घंटे सुबह या 20 मिनट शाम को आप ध्यान में करिए, प्राणायाम करिए. You do this, practices. You will see yourself. In 40 days, you find a huge difference. Yeah.
Gurudev, Neera Srivastav from Setu, she's the content chief of Setu, wants to ask you, how do you employ compassion when you have to let go of employees due to the lack of revenue?
Yes. I'll give you an example. Suppose you have 50 workers and revenue is so low, you cannot sustain a company. So what do? You let go of 10 employees or 15 employees so that see the brighter side. Otherwise, at least you are able to maintain those 35 other families. Like that. And if you can do it easily, 35, compassion here means, okay, can you take 2 more, looking to their individual needs? That is good enough. Because charity cannot happen from an empty bowl. You cannot run an engine without petrol in it. Correct? Similarly, if your vehicle need support, you should be compassionate towards your own company also, not only to people. Right? You have to save your company. Save your company and then see that what best you can do, what good package you can go. If the norm says your package is say 500, you can give another 10 more. See, this is what is required by law, but I am giving you a little more from this. That compassion, that much is good enough. Yeah.
Guruji, Narendra Goyal he's the director at Sham Global Techno Venture, asks a very simple but I think very profound question. He asks, post-COVID-19, how will leadership qualities with respect to people management change?
Leadership is that which is dynamic, which is not stagnant. It moves with the time and it moves the time. If you don't move with the time and you are stuck with old paradigms, you are not at all a leader. So leadership is tied to the time, and leadership always guides the time. That is possible. It will have to develop. It's very dynamic in that sense, Leadership cannot be static or stagnant. What do you say? Don't you agree with me? You're all leaders, yes, isn't it? Yeah. And time to time we have to evolve strategies. There is no set strategies that you can take and move on that all the time. You have to. That is the main quality of a leader. Is very alert, very conscious, very alert, and rises up to the occasion. Any moment, any place needs to do something new. You just jump in and get new ideas. Yeah.
Guruji, this question is from Ram Gandhi. He is the Director of Engineering at Mango Technologies. He asks you, what is the one word that summarizes the cause, the mistakes, and the learnings that we can erase the bad memory associated with the word Corona?
You want to one word, you want to limit it to one word? Good. Meditation. Yeah.
Gurudev, this is from Jairam Panch. He's the MD of Turner Project Management. What is your suggestion, advice to our country as we end our lockdown? How do we come back to normalcy?
It will just happen. Go with the flow. Once the lockdown is removed, by the time there will be medicines, there will be vaccines, hopefully there are more measures and people discover more about the virus and how it can be tackled. And you continue, the medical fraternity will give you norms, what need to be followed. Maybe everybody will have to cover their mouth like the Jain Munis. Everyone will have to go with the mask and speak through the mask and keeping the social distance at least for some time to come. These things will happen. Anyway, work doesn't stop because you're already having the principal policy of working from home, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We need to continue these norms for some more time. Yeah. Yes, hello?
Yes. Gurudev, this question is from Sanjeev Anand. He is the COO of GEM Engineering. In these tough conditions, please suggest means and ways of improving our immunity.
I would recommend you to take turmeric with a little pinch of pepper. Without pepper, body cannot absorb turmeric. And turmeric is the best antiviral and antibacterial, and there are 20 other benefits from turmeric. Turmeric is something you must take. And then amrit. Amrit is another herb which is found all over the country here in India. And it really strengthens your immune system. You can also get tablets, Amrit tablets you can get. You can go on Google on Ayurveda and you can get. And then you can these two things is a must. You must use this. And then lemon, nimbu pani, and alkaline water is again something that we must use. See, our food in India is very acidic. We consume very acidic food. हर चीज़ में हम मसाला डाल के खाते हैं तो एसिडिटी बहुत होती है. तो उसको अल्कलाइन करने के लिए तरीका ये है, alkaline water, have a jar of water, 1 liter of water, put 2 lemon pieces and 2 kira or cucumber in it. It becomes alkaline. And थोड़ा सा भोजन के 1 घंटे बाद 2 घंटे बाद हम ले लेते हैं, तो that also helps to build our immune system. Plus pranayama. There are several pranayamas. I would say Bastrika and straw breath is another breathing exercise. It is good also for blood pressure and many of these other things. Breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth, as though you are breathing out through a straw, juice straw, like that. You do this 5, 7 times or 10 times. And meditation. Meditation has been found to improve your immunity. your immune system. And one last thing is to avoid white sugar. Yes.
Guruji, Kanika from eValue Serve is asking a question that I think I've seen a lot more members ask in different flavors. And her question is, do you think post-corona, COVID-19, this whole alleged American dream, the chase to go to the West, will it become a thing of the past? Will people find more interest and gravity in India? And a few more people have also asked, how will the geopolitical and business centers shift because of this, if at all?
Yes, India will prosper more. I think India has a lot of chances here to grow economically, and India will get more confidence, I feel, in the coming years. But all this will, my guess is, will be after 1 year of time. Yeah, 1 year. 2021. Mid 2021, things should become much better for India and for the world. Yeah.
Gurudev, some of our members have some astrological interests. So one of them, Shiva Priya Nanda, is asking, Gurudev, I have heard some astrologers talk about a recurrence of this happening again. Is this correct, or what do we make out of all these prophecies?
They're all just indications, astrology, and you should take it with a pinch of salt, and or with a probability factor in it. You should not say, this is probable. That's all you can say, right? Because the consciousness, divinity is very much alive, and so it can change its decision anytime. So you can get a road map. You can say, okay, you go in this road, this is an exit point, but if you miss one exit, you have to wait for the another exit to get off the highway. Like that, astrology can just indicate like the weather forecast. Weather forecast doesn't always come true, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it says stormy day and you have very good sunshine. So like that. But you prepare. If it's a stormy day, okay, you keep your umbrella ready, you keep your raincoat ready, but it need not really rain on that day. So astrology gives you a sort of good indication and gets you prepared for it. But there is what is called upaya in astrology. Upaya means remedies. Remedies is meditation and dhyana, japa, listening to chants. All these things also add to the positivity in the atmosphere. Yeah? Okay, one last question I'll take alone.
Okay, Guruji, first one message from Kavita Joshi for you. Dear Gurudev, with your blessings at Tech Mahindra, we are taking online meditation sessions and have covered 600 plus associates. It is making a very big impact and getting a great appreciation. Thank you so much for your blessings.
Very good, very good, very good. Keep doing good work and all the best to you.
Guruji, one question. Please allow us at least we've got lots of questions. Give us at least 2 or 3 more questions.
Okay,
please.
Okay. Take 3 more questions.
Sanjay KDV, CEO of Marsh India, asks a very important question. He wants to know in which areas to donate funds to support humanity in this crisis.
Right now, there is tremendous demand for the daily wage workers. There are many organizations cooking food. We have supplied in from IAHV and Art of Living has supplied for food for 4.7 crore people throughout the country. So there it is good. There is so much demand for these people who are stuck, who cannot go to their villages. That would be good. Daily wage workers, and whichever area you want to give them food, you can do that. I think even in Mumbai, we are giving to about 50,000 meals are being given every day, 50,000 people, their lunch and dinner are being served. So that would be very good. IAHV is one organization you can donate to. Art of Living you can donate to. Yeah.
Second last question, Guruji. Deepish Nanda, who is the CEO of GE Gas Power. It's very interesting. His question is, environment and nature around us, especially in a city like Gurgaon, has improved thanks to humans staying indoors. Will mankind learn from this episode, or will we go back to our old ways?
I wish and I hope we learn from the experiences. Yeah. This is the time to unite human hearts and minds and lift the human consciousness to another level. You know, education has definitely lifted people to more civilized, what we can call cultured ways. But this situation can lift them with a more spiritual quotient, more sense of belongingness, more sense of, sense of togetherness, belongingness. Yeah.
Last question, Guruji. This is a question that is close to my heart also. Samarth Kochar, who's the CEO of Trontech Batteries, is asking, is it true that we can only be in the pursuit of happiness, or is there any formula of being happy always? I am looking for a different answer than to be in the moment. And Guruji, it's personal to me because as an Art of Living teacher, this is one of the tenets we talk about. Is life in pursuit of happiness, or is it an expression of happiness? But Guruji, please enlighten all of us.
What is it? Is there anything better than pursuit of happiness? Is that what you are asking?
The question is, Guruji, is it true that we can only be in the pursuit of happiness, or is there any formula of being happy always?
You are not in pursuit of happiness all the time. No. There are moments in life you have been happy. As a child, you have been happy. You ask any baby, what do you want? The baby says, no, nothing. You have not paid attention. Similarly, a retired person who has lived his life fully, you ask him, what do you want? He says, nothing, कुछ नहीं चाहिए. This कुछ नहीं चाहिए जब भी हमारे मन में आया उस वक्त हमारे भीतर एक तृप्ति झलकी है. We have experienced some contentment. Suppose you are having food and you are enjoying food. After your stomach is full, if someone asks, do you want anything? You say, no, nothing, I am fine. Right? When your needs are taken care, and when your mind understands that my needs are being taken care and it's done, then there is confidence. When there is confidence, then there is happiness. There is no pursuit of happiness. Not everybody is trying to fill their tummy all the time. Not everyone is anxious to find happiness sometime in the future. People know that when you serve others, look at the doctors who are serving today. You ask them, are you in pursuit of happiness by serving people? They say, no. We are serving because in that serving itself gives us happiness. Yeah? So, there are two types of, one is the joy you get when you get things. That is a childish joy. I mean, it's an infant joy. When you get some gifts, you are happy. When you get some things, you are happy. But there is a joy that you get when you give. That's a grandmother's joy. See, when grandmother is at home, she doesn't cook for herself many dishes. But when grandchildren come home, she's all enthusiastic. She's all over the place cooking many things and forcing you to eat. Doesn't she do? Her joy is in sharing. So if we don't get onto this pedestal of finding joy in sharing, we will remain a very poor, we will maintain a very poor lifestyle. Our lives will be very small. It will be immature. Uh, isn't it? Don't you think so? Say, a grandfather at home enjoys giving. दिवाली के दिन वो ये नहीं सोचते मेरे को क्या गिफ्ट लेके आए सब लोग. अपने बैग से उठा के 500 कुछ भी सबको देना उनके लिए बड़े खुशी की बात होती है. बच्चों को बुला के कुछ देंगे, देने से इनकी खुशी बढ़ती है. तो द जॉय इन गिविंग is different and it's most mature, and we all know it. I think every one of us here on this platform have sometime or other experienced it, isn't it? Yeah? Wonderful, wonderful being with you all. All
Thank
the
you.
best. Keep going. You're all the leaders of this society, our country. And I wish you all the best and all blessings and love for you all. Yeah, blessings.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Gurudev.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
As we come to the end of this important session, on behalf of ETH and the
Hello?
entire community, I extend a heartfelt gratitude to Gurudev for being with us and gracing us with your presence and valuable.
Very.
Each one of you have shown tremendous enthusiasm, and I am thankful for each one of you for being a part of this conference. Last but not the least, I would also like to thank our viewers across the world for being with us. Thank you, Jai Guru.